I'm Minister of State. I was going to speak about targeted measures that are needed for differing needs of those signing on. The government needs targeted measures for different types of people that are signing on so that we get as many as possible of them into jobs. For example, there's a need to do more to address long-term unemployment. As we know from research, long-term unemployed people and their families are more likely to be poor. And an initiative that the Institute of Technology in Tallaght took, that I'm aware of because my father worked for the college on this initiative at the time, involved training long-term unemployed people for jobs in Intel. We need much more of that type of approach. The recent quarterly National Household Survey showed that there was a decrease in the number of men at work of over 32,000 and that male unemployment rose by 58.3% compared to an increase of 37.1% of unemployed females. This particular vulnerability of men to unemployment in the current economic climate needs to be addressed, and I note that the largest decrease in male unemployment was in the construction sector. There is a need to ensure that older men who worked in manufacturing or construction and have been let go are helped find new jobs and help so that they don't become long-term unemployed. And there's lots of issues that arise for men in that situation and for older women as well, including the fact that they have lower levels of educational attainment. There's age discrimination out there. That is a factor we know of, certainly anecdotally, that lots of employers just won't employ older people, and they consider you old when you're 40. There's obviously people like that are less likely to emigrate because of family commitments at that stage of their lives. And just on that, one thing we don't want to slip into, which was around in the 1980s when I finished college in the late 1980s, was this view that emigration was a safety valve. And lots of my friends emigrated and never came back. We lose as a society when people emigrate to other countries, apart from the loss that the people themselves have. And I know lots of people go on and have very successful lives in other countries. One phenomenon that I particularly wanted to address was the issue of youth unemployment, and basically the rate of increase of people under 25 signing onto the live registry is a lot greater than the rest of the age groups that are signing on. And basically the percentage increase of those under 25 signing on from October 2007 to October 2008 was 71%, whereas that compares with an increase of 57% for the other age groups. And this would seem to suggest that under 25, people aged under 25 are more vulnerable to the rise in unemployment. And in fact, in some towns, the increase in those under 25 signing on has actually been over 100% in the past year. For example, in towns in Cork County, there was increases of 120% more young people under 25 were signing on. The other side of it is there's huge increases in certain areas, certain geographical towns and so on. So there needs to be measures that are targeted on a geographical basis to tackle unemployment. Now, just in relation to youth unemployment, we need measures in general to tackle unemployment, but we need measures that are specifically targeted to young people. And I note that this type of step that has been taken in the past in relation to the problem of youth unemployment, in places where they were experiencing serious recession or youth unemployment, included, for example, Franklin D. Roosevelt's New Deal had measures for young people, and it involved the public sector and third-level colleges in providing training and work experience to young people that were vulnerable to the depression. And similarly, the French Socialist Party, when they were in government, took measures specifically to help young people get back to work. New schemes could be introduced that could be similar to the social employment schemes and the community employment schemes. But as someone who actually participated on the social employment schemes that were introduced by Rory Quinn, there needs to be a much higher level of quality and level of training as part of any such schemes. And one thing we need to do, the government needs to arm itself with information about why particular groups are more vulnerable to unemployment than others, what are their needs in terms of educational qualification or any other needs they have in terms of putting in place programs that will train them and give them opportunities to get back into the workforce. There should be a lot of emphasis on trying to create jobs, and train people up for the type of areas we need to create jobs in the future, such as the environmental, goods and services sector, information and computer technology and so on. We need to get all of the agencies to work together, including third level colleges who are not involved in this issue at all. And the thing about it, just to finish up, is that the most important thing in rebuilding our economy is to provide opportunities for jobs, because it's not just about the economy. The reason we want jobs is because people have a better quality of life when they have jobs, and that should be our primary response. There needs to be much more proactive approach than there is at present, and we need to make sure that we give the necessary training and skills to have a sustainable economy in the future.